All right. This is actually the finals of an 8-man event. In Modern, I'm playing the blue-white Tron deck. And on the draw, I'm going to keep this. I have Iona in hand, which is not ideal. But I do have 4 mana, Gifts Ungiven. And the combo plan, getting Wormcoil Engine or Elesh Norn, should be pretty good. So I'm just going to play this one out. No Tron lands. It's not an ideal hand, but it is fine. All right, calling it here. I have no need to use the map right now. At this point, I can save it and try to find a Tron land. No action for my opponent. I'm going to use Thirst to discard Iona, probably. All right, so it looks like he's probably playing the control deck. Blue, red, white, blue, red. He just had an awkward draw. Okay, with Serum Vision, it could also be Splinter Twin. They often run Tectonic Edge. The Elesh Norn combo is pretty good against Splinter Twin, but they can bounce it with Cryptic Command. Okay, so Iona hits the bin, and Oblivion Ring really doesn't do anything. And I could resolve Gifts Ungiven, but there's really no need to. If I cast it and he does have a remand, he's just going to save it for the Unburial Rights. I would actually rather him remand my gifts. What I would really hope for is that he just taps out and I can get him with gifts for the combo. Alright, so just cast gifts here. And he might remand it. He might play an Exarch and untap and remand it. He might let it resolve. He might be thinking about the Tech Edge. Probably not for another turn or until I have 2 Tron lands, though. So he knows I have the Unburial Rights, and he has the remand, I think, and he's probably considering whether he should remand this or let it resolve. So he lets it resolve. So I think I have another gifts in hand. I'm not going to combo him, so I'm just going to go for some value here. And I think the best way to do that is to get my 2 missing Tron pieces and a path and a remand, or possibly a condescend. I like this line. I could have also got a condescend in there over a land, maybe. But I might grab that condescend with that next Gifts Ungiven. Either way, I can stop him from comboing me off for a turn, even if he gives me the 2 lands, because I have remand in my hand. Now, hitting Tron doesn't actually do too much right now, but because I have Expedition Map, I can use it to find Ayavugan and then go get Emrakul. Alright, so he gives me Remand and 1 Tron land. So I think that's actually ideal for me. There's that path. Alright, he's going right into it. Path for me. He's probably in pretty bad shape right now. Yeah. I think he was just going to hope I remand it and let it resolve and try again next turn. Not good. Okay, gifts. I don't think he has a Dispel. No. Okay, Unburial Rights. And Elish Norn. I'm going to recur the Iona I have, though. Rights. Iona. Naming blue. And with 7 toughness, he's not going to be able to realistically burn it out. Especially not when I have remands. Alright. Reaching for the sideboard. Looks like he's not playing the Tarmo Twin deck. He's playing straight Splinter Twin, which I have a better time with. Because my Hate is more effective and I don't have to worry about Tarmogoyf as much. So Torpor Orb is going to be excellent here. Ghostly Prison is actually excellent. He wins by making infinite creatures, and Ghostly Prison makes him pay 2 for each one. So he's actually only going to be able to combo off and deal a few damage each turn. And that should be enough to let me win. Spellskite is also direct hate. So these 3 cards definitely come in. These are great to gifts for, and they're generally awesome. So I can cut the O-Ring here. He's very likely to have Blood Moon. I bring in Disenchant and Celestial Purge as instant answers for Blood Moon and for Splinter Twin. Whereas Detention Sphere and Oblivion Ring are really terrible against his instant base deck. For the same reason, Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, and Supreme Verdict are also bad, as well as Timely Reinforcements. As I said earlier, Elish Norn does stop his combo. Iona's effective. I think Wormcoil is a weak link as far as the creatures is concerned. That brings me to 58 cards. And then I'm going to round out the deck with some counter spells. Dispel is excellent. Counters Remand and Cryptic Command, and everything in between. And then for my last slot, I can choose between Pact and Negate. And I'm not sure what I want to go with here. Pact is a very awkward card, but at the same time, it can be a blowout that wins the game. Negate is a little more solid and predictable. I'm going to go with the Negate here. I think this matchup should be favorable for me. And I think Negate answers very many cards and is efficient, whereas Pact is never efficient. Pact is kind of a gimmick and a gambit and not something I need to rely on right now. But it is also possible that this should be in the deck as well. I should have all of them. But I don't think that Pact is better than any of these other cards in my deck. The main draw to Pact is you can gifts. For example, with 5 mana, you can gifts and get a Pact and a Dispel. If you have 6 mana, you get Pact, Dispel, Negate, Remand. Open up your options. And that free counterspell can come in handy. Or against Splinter Twin, for example, I could do Dispel, Path, and the Pact on 5 mana, and I would assure that I get 1 piece of disruption for the combo. But that's corner case, and I think it's actually a little better against possibly even control decks that are trying to interfere with the combo, things like that. It's a flexible card. Certainly has applications against Splinter Twin. All right, this is kind of weak. No blue. I have the rights in my hand. Disenchant's not the best card. This hand is just not impressive. I'd have to map for a blue, and that's never good. Let's just throw it back. This is decent. It's really not a great hand. But on the draw, with 1 land and the Signet, this is a keep. I have some disruption for the combo as well. And I have 2 gifts. So while I don't like to keep hands like this is one that I can keep. Because it has all the tools I need. On the draw, I would have to go to, or on the play, I would have to go to 5. But on the draw, I think it's worth the risk. Looks like my opponent has a very bad hand as well. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully he does not hit a land, and I can play Torpor Orb and win. If he draws blue mana or red mana to turn on his Cascade Bluffs, I'm probably in rough shape. He doesn't sack it, and I miss again. So I have to discard now. He's going to get me with Relic here. I'm going to discard a Gifts. Again, nothing. He decides to sacrifice it now. I miss again. So at least here I can discard the rights, which is kind of cool. Looks like he misses again. This is quite the game. So here I simply need to resolve the orb. He could combo me out once he draws any colored source. So I need to just get it in play. He does have plenty of outs to Torpor Orb. He has tons of artifact removal, I'm sure. But I still need to get it into play. There's nothing to wait on. Okay, so now here I play that Signet and pass. And I'm looking to be in decent shape. Yeah, he has nothing. He kept a speculative hand as I did, and looks like I got there before he did. Okay. So I think the best plan here is the Gifts for value. And of course, I'm going to get a tower. And I'm going to get a map. And then I need to get some action. So I'm going to get a Ghostly Prison. And I'm going to get a Spellskite. Oh, I misclicked and got the Talisman. Alright, that's a little awkward. But not too big of a deal. Just keep getting... The Spellskite would have been yet another source of hate. I'm just trying to slowly lock him out of all options. Talisman's not terrible, though. It's just like getting another land, I guess. Value is value. Okay, and I can pass here, and then I'll sit back on my counter spells indefinitely. At this point, I could even discard. I'd keep drawing and discarding Hellish Norn, and then reanimate it. He's tapped out, so he's tapped out of blue, so I'm just going to play Hellish Norn. And that should do it for him. Really, the best he could do now is bounce it, short of throwing 3 lightning bolts at it. So that's what he does. He bounces it. And I'll just get it right back into play. He bounces it again. This time he has Remand up. So I can pass. Discard Iona. And then I'll reanimate it next turn. I could have also just played the Hellish Norn, have him remanded again, and then still discarded. And actually, I probably should have done that. Ran into his remand. Now I'm going to win, but it's going to take a long time. I should have exhausted his remands to make resolving that Unburial Rites that much easier for me. That was definitely a mistake. He has the Grudge. I'll go ahead and dispel that. And I can remand it on the way back from the graveyard. He remands his Grudge. I'm going to remand my Dispel. And then I think I'm going to let that resolve. I'm not going to fight over the orb. I'll just sit back on Prison for the combo. He'll be able to get value from Snapcaster Mage, though. Because now I could dispel the grudge and counter his remand. Fizzle it, but then he can flash back the grudge and still kill the orb. I won't have the remand anymore. Okay, so he negates my remand. I could let it resolve, then his remand the grudge. Or I could condescend the negate, let remand resolve, and let his remand resolve. Then he'll have to do it on the next turn. I actually like that. I could also... I could counter his negate. Then I get my dispel back. And then he remands his grudge. Or I could counter his grudge. No, that's not as good. Counter negate. I have Ugin's not very good right now. He's going to break up my Tron anyways. Alright, this looks nice. Now I have that Dispel in hand to protect my Unburial Rights. I basically did that big fight over a grudge on Torpor Orb that really doesn't even matter that much. Just trying to get him to expend his resources. So my mistake of not playing that Elish Norn that one turn, pretty relevant. Looks like he's thinking about grudging the orb and the map and then LDing me. That'd be a good turn of events for me. Crucible, that's kind of cool with Edge. But I don't think it'll beat me. So here I gotta go for the Unburial Rights, I think. Let's see what he's got. Remand. Dispel. Another remand. And I'll kill his Crucible. So in his hand is a remand. The fourth one. So my mistake of not playing the Elish Norn is fighting me back pretty bad right now. I'm not going to be able to reanimate anything anymore. So I need to resolve that Elish Norn. Or I need to get Emrakul going. But He's taking out my Tron lands. Celestial Colonnade is another decent one. I'm going to gifts for value here. There's nothing I want to remand. And I want to gifts while he can't Snapcaster negate it or something like that. If he remands it, that's fine. So I gifted for value so I can get Thirst. And I can get negate. And I can get remand. And I can get a Colonnade. And if you notice, I gifted after he sacked so he couldn't Cryptic Command it. He bins the 2 counter spells predictably. And now I'm going to just start attacking with my man lands. I guess I can hold off a turn. He paid 2 life. So it might behoove me to slow down a little bit and keep on controlling him. At this point, he just needs to bounce my Ghostly Prison and he's free to go off. So Spellskite adds another layer to the protection. And I still have the Paths in my hand. End of turn Thirst here. I'm thirsty. Counter draw. I'm going to remand my Thirst. Snapcaster. He's going to get negate, I assume. In any event, I'm casting Elishnor next turn, and I'm attacking for 2 with Spellskite. Logic not okay. It's all the same. Okay, so he draws a card. I'll activate, put the pressure on him, and this will be lethal. He might have the cryptic command to tap. And I wanted to force that. Okay, so he edges it, which is cool. All right. So he's dead on board. He's going to use Cryptic to probably bounce Elishnor now. Or that's his plan next turn, maybe. Not much I can do about that. Now, if he tries to bounce something with Cryptic, I can redirect it with Spellskite. So I think he's in pretty dire straits. He goes to bounce his own land, so I'm not going to argue with that. All right, so I beat him and I win the 8-man. Thanks for watching.